Well, welcome to As Told by You. We have a cool couple of guests today. This is our first two guests in a long time, so this is going to be fun. Sam and Illia, and I have known Sam off and on from, I guess we talked in the fall, right?
Yep.
About they have a wedding band. They're musicians. Illia, do you work outside of doing music and other stuff?
No, not currently.
Wow.
I just really wanted to be a musician for so long, so I'm just like, this is all I'm gonna do.
Well, that's awesome. Tell us a little bit about that. There's probably a lot of people out there that are like, I love music. I wish I could do this. Like, talk to us about that. Is it just talent? Is it like, I have so much talent that I can do this for a living, or what is it?
Definitely not just talent. Because I think like both of us were talented in our own right before we met each other, but it's like I was lacking in a lot of the business stuff, really. Like I'm not the best communicator in the world, and I'm also not the most organized person in the world, but Sam is really good at communicating and organization, so he has helped me get that together over the last few years. But I think that was really kind of what I was missing, because I was doing gigs like one-off here and there, but not really like sticking to anything consistent until I met you.
Well, and Sam, I guess let's start with like, what are your different bands and stuff that you're doing? Tell me what it is that y'all do.
What's the name of your band?
Yeah.
Sure.
So me and Illia are obviously in a band, and we sat in a conference room for like 10 straight hours.
It was days, actually.
It was days.
It was many days.
And we came up with a very clever band name, the Sam and Ilia Band.
Nice.
Stupid joke that we
That's
always make.
that's
at gigs.
super. That's super descriptive of what you do.
It's true.
Yeah. So that's nice.
Now, is it just the two of you, or do you have other people in the band?
Yes.
It started as just us two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we started as a duo. Our first ever gig was actually like 3 years ago. As of when was that?
Like 2 days ago, on Tuesday was.
Yeah.
This past Tuesday was our 3-year anniversary for gigging.
So 3 years ago from Tuesday, it was our first ever public gig at Steel Hands in Casey. Shout out to Steel Hands. We love them.
We love Steel Hands.
Playing there again tomorrow. So our first ever duo gig was there, and we just went by Sam and Ilia because we didn't really have a different name at the time. We thought we'd come up with something.
Yeah.
And then we just didn't.
We were like, this works.
Yeah.
This describes who we are. It's enough. And we're a duo.
Yeah.
So.
And we started as an acoustic duo with me just like playing acoustic guitar and electric guitar, and you singing, and then we kind of built a trio because you picked up playing bass guitar.
Well, actually, before then, we met Zach Bingham.
Yep.
And Zach, you had played bass with Zach, and then at some point you convinced him to let me sit in on some songs, which ended up being like a whole hour-long set. Yep. And then from there, we were able to like book gigs with Zach, and that was our first like full band experience. It was me singing, Zach was doing lead guitar, you played bass, then we would just hire out drummers.
Yep. Still called the Sam and Ilia Band, even though I was like towards the back of the stage, and Zach was. People probably thought Zach was Sam. A couple of those gigs.
Listen, anytime anyone thinks that another dude that I'm around is Sam, I just roll with it. I'm like, this is Sam,
totally
and I just
Sam.
make them commit to whoever I'm with. They're committed to being Sam now.
That's what Jessica runs into with Prettier Than Matt. Like, he's always Matt.
He's always Matt.
Yeah.
He's not Matt.
He's not. It's Jeff. Neither of them are Matt.
No one's Jeff.
No one's Matt.
No, there's no. Yeah.
Even when they like hire bandmates, there's no Matt. They never hire any Matts.
Right. They're always Prettier Than Matt because there is no Matt.
There's no Matt.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
We're all prettier than that on the inside.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's funny.
Well, and there's a good history of Sonny and Cher and Simon and Garfunkel, and there's all kinds of like great duo names that could have been more creative, but they don't need to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Because they're super descriptive. Right?
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think I kind of have a theory that like I think a lot of times like building, and this is kind of like maybe kind of lame corporate talk, but I feel like building our band's brand around just like the people of it with our names is like, I think that's really connected with people just because they're like, oh, it's Sam and Illia. It's not some other band name that is nebulous and you don't really know who the people are. You don't know much about them, but it's like, that's Sam, that's Illia.
Yeah.
And we even had people like recognize us in like downtown Columbia and be like, Sam and Illia, and we're like, do we know you, or do you just know about the
know our
band?
names?
Just the band, yeah. Well, it's the only challenge is when you're ready to retire, and somebody else needs to carry the band on after you're done.
Yeah.
You run across that KISS problem, right?
True.
Where you've replaced the drummer, you've replaced the guitar player.
Yeah.
You know, now all you got down is Gene and Paul. When they're gone, is it still KISS?
Yeah.
You don't have any
Ship
idea.
of Theseus type.
Who did you see
situation.
that was like, it's basically just a cover band of.
Oh, yeah.
my gosh. I went to see ZZ Top and Skynyrd, mainly for ZZ Top because I love
Yeah.
ZZ Top. But Skynyrd, there's no surviving original band members. It's,
Right.
It's. I was joking with my dad. It's like it's the highest paid tribute band of all time.
Sure.
You know?
They just officially have the name.
They just
Yeah.
officially
Yeah.
have the name.
Well, and one of the things we ran across with weddings a lot was you would have like the Drifters would play the wedding, but it's just the one guy from the Drifters that's like
Yeah.
87 years old. He's barely standing in the back holding a guitar, not really doing much. It's a bunch of young people up front playing the
Yeah.
Drifters songs, you know, but
Totally.
and that's how it works. But
Yep.
see, then how do you have the Sam and Ilia Band, you know, with young people? When you get old, I'm saying, you know, young people up there playing for you, you know.
We
Just
haven't
got
got
to
that
have a
far
little
ahead.
Sam Jr.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. We
That's
gotta
right.
find. I don't know if we could ever find another Illia just by name. Definitely by vocal ability, but I don't know if we could find another Illia by name.
Well, that's it. A nationwide search for other Ilias, you know,
Yeah.
and, other Ilias who are bass players.
Exactly, and also
Yeah.
can sing.
A lot of
All right. So, what kind of music do you guys play?
Right now, we just do covers, but we we kind of put our own spin on it. It's mostly we kind of describe ourselves as a blend of like soul and rock and pop, and we kind of lean into each of those genres more depending on the venue. So like Hall's Trap House, we played there last night. We'll lean heavily into the soul stuff, you know, covering like a lot of Bill Withers and like Stevie Wonder and that kind of stuff, like more funky, jazzy stuff, and then
And we might even take songs and like just kind of tone them down.
yeah,
Like a great song to do there is Billie Eilish, "Birds of a Feather."
yeah,
Because it's you can go anywhere with that one.
sure,
And that's one that's really fun to play down. But
yeah.
So, do you write your own? Are you guys working on your own music?
Working
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in
perpetually.
the process. but like you were saying, the big challenge so far has been like figuring out a way to allow music to like pay our bills and like
Yeah.
our rent and stuff. You know.
Well, that's what I'm kind of fascinated with too on the music side is that I'm sure there's so many musicians out there that go, boy, I wish I could do that, you know, and that's kind of why I started the conversation that way because I think that's so important. I think being able to do stuff like play Hall's Chop House, which I didn't realize happened. So I guess there's a patio that they have.
No,
people-
They just
it's
put us
inside the
inside
bar.
by-
Really?
It's a
by the
squeeze.
piano.
It's real
Ah.
tight. Boy, make it
Awesome.
work.
Yeah. And I think it's so cool to be just like industrious and try to find those places. How, you know, thinking about how many times a week do we have to play? How many places are we playing? What is it that we've got to learn to fit into, you know, the different pieces? Illia, talk about kind of thinking about that piece of it. How do you find enough places to play and get yourselves into, you know, the right corners?
We definitely like. I'll do a lot of. I'll look at what everyone else is doing, right? So if you see another person in town that's like, okay, they're performing this many times a week that I would like to do. So let me look at all the places that they play at, and I'm just gonna cold call them or cold email or whatever. We've also we'll take like a free day that we have and just walk around downtown and go into a bunch of different places. We don't know if they have music or not. We'll definitely go to the ones we know have music, and then we'll go to ones that like maybe they don't, but they'd like to start trying to have music. And we'll just go in and show them our faces, like we're Sam and Ilia, and here's what we can do, and here's our card, and here's our social media and our demos. Demos definitely help a lot because then when you cold email somebody, you can also send them the link of like, here's our super controlled environment of us performing and to the best of our ability. That's kind of been the strategy so far.
Yeah.
Is you just got to be able to reach out to
Yeah.
whoever might be booking.
And we've done that in like multiple cities too. Like we've done a run in Charlotte too, and like all the whole suburbs around Charlotte before. So
We're trying to break into Charleston. So I have a friend who is a solo act in Charleston, and I've just been watching her social media for a long time, just writing down every time she plays somewhere, like, all right, we could probably, if she can do it, we can do it. So we just got to call them, reach out.
So, but I think you got to be good to start with, right? Obviously, you can't do this and not be good,
I reckon.
right?
You should definitely hone in your skill
yeah.
as much as possible.
It's like our business. Like people call you, so you just assume you can make a good video, right? But then now what, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and what I'm hearing you say is that you treat it like a business,
Yes.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's definitely been the priority. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And you have to learn to adapt too. You know, you're saying you got to be good. We would definitely do some duo gigs early on where we probably didn't fit the environment very well.
Yeah,
And we're
I could-
probably like too loud or too like there was some stuff to be worked through in like how we played at
kidding.
certain venues.
Yeah.
Because we used to just every show was the same. It was all like we would give it the same performance no matter what. But we've learned to adapt to that because that's really what
Yeah.
venues want is they want you to adapt to what environment they've created.
Yeah. The tricky part is that, like, and this, I think this is a path that probably most musicians have experienced, but like, especially if you're, when you're young and you live in the same kind of area as your family and you have, a lot of support system, like the first gig you play will be a huge deal. And like like the Steel Hands gig, for example, like the first time we ever played there, we probably like just did it for an acoustic duo set. We had like, what do you think, like 25 or 30 people show
We had
up?
a lot of people
Like a
there.
lot of, because they were like, so many people showed up and they were excited to hear us and they were excited that we got a gig that was like as big as Steel Hands.
And then they helped pull in people that weren't there for us, but
Yeah.
they saw this whole excited crowd. So they're
Yeah.
like, oh, we want to be excited too.
And that gig was like, so like it was such an amazing experience, and I treasure that memory. But it's funny because then the next gig you get a month down the road is like kind of like that, and you get like 15 people. And then the next like 100, 200 gigs you get maybe a couple people show up. And so
Right.
and so you like learn this thing really fast of like, okay, like the bar hired us, and we can't reliably even really bring people to this bar, at least the first like year or two that you play. And so you start to learn really like how to play to the room and how to like figure out how to serve for the bar's interests the best.
Yeah.
And the worst part is like, especially on Columbia, and this is not, I mean, it's not bad that there aren't many booking agencies or booking agents around Columbia. Like, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but a lot of bar managers and like staff that are in charge of hiring musicians won't really know how to interface with musicians and express their goals with music.
Right.
And so, and I've talked to my buddy Chris Reed about this a lot, but one of the biggest challenges of being a live musician and a cover musician is like figuring out, why does this bar want a guy playing in a corner with acoustic guitar, or a band playing, or like a duo playing, or whoever? Like, why do they call us? What do they want from this? What are their goals? Because they like, most of the time they won't tell you, like,
Right.
they won't tell you like they want you to bring crowd or hold the crowd there, or just provide like ambiance to the restaurant. Like it can be really tricky for sure.
I've like looked up bars on social media before to like, okay, what is the vibe of this place? How are people dressing? Like, what's kind of, is this a nicer establishment? Do people want to come have a quiet dinner and move on? Do people want to party the whole time? Like, because bars often won't communicate that to us, like what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's business, right? It's just like it's just regular business. I can remember we used to play at a place out in out towards Swansea. It's called Tabs now. It wasn't called
Yeah.
Tabs back then,
I've
but
heard of Tabs.
they would book us on a Saturday night when a Gamecock game was on. And of course you go, why would they do that? Like we're a full band, we're loud, we're not going to be not loud. There's no way to do that.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the bar would be like upset at us that we were playing and the game is on,
Yeah.
And so the manager would come over and say, hey guys, I need you to take a break until halftime, and then you can play during halftime, and then you got to stop, and we go, why would you book this?
Right.
Like, why would you
Yeah.
even book us to come out here? It
That's
doesn't
really
make any
strange.
sense. And it's a challenge. I think one of my favorite kind of friends that has made a living playing music is a guy named Jeff Liberty, and Jeff found that way to do that. Right.
Sure.
He became he started off basically as an electric blues guitar player, right, and that was his whole thing, and he just loved playing blues, and has gotten himself to a point where he can do this sort of solo acoustic thing. He has a suitcase that he uses as a kick drum,
I've seen
and
that.
it's got
Yeah.
a cymbals on the top, and
cool.
he'll do that while he's playing, and it sounds like a whole whole thing going on. But he's like you said, he's industrious. He's playing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and
Sure.
and just kind of making it work. What are the biggest challenges kind of facing musicians that want to do this? What do you feel like is the biggest thing?
There are numerous, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, man, just like getting connected to people is so difficult. Like getting the in with the bars, like having the right connections. I mean, to be blunt, like the only reason that we got our first booking at Steel Hands was because we had a friend, Don Russo, like a mutual friend, and he got us plugged in to their booking guy, and like he just handed us a gig on a silver platter despite us having virtually like no social media presence or online stuff. So we got like very lucky with that first gig. And we started building our brand, and we put out some videos and stuff, and that helped a lot for sure.
We like hired a photographer for the first gig because we were like, we want to show people.
Make sure you got that.
Yeah.
But getting the initial connection stuff, and then even like just playing your first handful of gigs is so tough because, you know, it's not cheap to like get a mic and a mic stand and cables and a good speaker and a good mixer, and then much less like know how to use it all well, and then like know how to like mix yourself to a room, and then like perform well and engage with people. Like it's brutal, man. It's not an easy industry to get into for sure.
It's rewarding when it works.
Yes,
Yes.
for sure.
When you get a big room in the palm of your hand, it's like there's nothing like it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
It's hard to do it.
How often are you guys practicing?
That's a good question.
Technically, we're supposed to be practicing once a week.
Once a week with the
with the band.
Yeah, with the trio. But that, I mean, that's an easy plan to cancel.
It depends on
often.
how we feel on Monday morning if we get together and
Yeah, and
practice.
it's tough when you're playing so often because you feel
Yeah.
like playing is practicing, and
Yeah.
it's, you know, it's not, right?
It's not.
True.
You can't stop in the middle and go, "Ooh, that wasn't right.
try
Let's
again."
do that again."
Yeah,
you know,
exactly,
so-
exactly. It's funny.
Yep, we've like started taking notes during gigs to be like, okay, when we do get together and practice,
We run
this is
this.
a thing we need to go over.
Yeah,
So yeah, technically once a week, but it's
Yeah.
been a little loose lately.
yeah. I would say at most once a week.
Yeah.
Probably is good.
Yeah.
Best answer.
Individual
it seems
practice
like
daily.
you guys don't have a group manager. You're doing it yourselves.
No,
Yeah.
it's all very independent for sure. Yeah.
We've talked about hiring a manager, but it's not
Yeah.
really been something that's been necessary
Yeah.
so far.
And we've heard like some horror stories of like somebody will like sign an exclusive booking agreement with a booking agent, and then like the agent will get them like one date a month, and it's like, oh, you just killed all of your opportunity to play any other night that month, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, the times I've had experience with booking agents, they take so much of the money that,
Yeah.
that once it's all done, you don't really end up with
Yeah.
a whole lot, you know, and so it's
Right.
not really worth it because the booking
doubt.
agents are typically compromising what you could get, you
Yeah.
know, and so
Yeah.
it's
And-
definitely a challenge.
yeah, and from my observation, like people talk about getting a slice of the pie of, you know, all the money for live music in Colombia itself is already like, it's such a small pie that
Yeah.
anytime somebody's trying to take another slice of that,
Right.
it shrinks really fast for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. I know one of the things that I noticed once you and I connected originally is that you guys were producing a lot of videos
Yes.
for your band. Talk about the inspiration for doing that. So what they were doing is they would do videos of them playing out. They did sitting on the dock of the bay on the dock at Lake Murray.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, I think those are very cool. Talk about the idea for that.
Thanks. Well, do you want to?
It's just, I don't know, we just wanted to have record of us playing. And we were
Yeah.
like, this is, because the first demo we ever recorded was just in your living room. It was just us playing as a duo. We had our friend Alex Davis mix it for us, and we just like set up an iPhone on a tripod, and
Yep.
we did
Very lo-fi.
Good Kisser by Lake Street Dive. And people loved that cover. Like, we would get people come up to us at bars sometimes, like when they had checked out our social media or something, and they'd say, oh my gosh, that cover of Good Kisser is so good. Like, can you guys play it live? So we're like, okay, this has worked really well for us as a duo. We did Good Kisser. We did Valerie
Yep.
in like a park in Earlwood. And we did a couple of duo demos that were really getting us some good traction. So we're like, okay, well, we want to book more as the band. So let's get in there with a band and let's, you know, make something happen. I don't know if there was a specific vision when we first started. I
Yeah.
think a bunch of bands do like studio demos, and I think those videos are so cool. I
Yeah.
love them.
Yeah. There's also like, I don't know if you guys are, I'm sure you guys are familiar with Jack Conti, the guy that started Patreon. But he has this whole, like he built a whole like following off of uploading videos of him and his
Yeah.
wife
Oh, yeah.
as Pomplamoose, like just performing songs, and there's a visual.
And I love the
aspect of it.
Pomplamoose videos
They're
because
so
they're so inside baseball. They're so like, you
Yeah.
know, I want you to play this little piece, and she goes, what, like
Yeah.
this? And they go like, yeah, like that, you know.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff is just like letting people completely behind the curtain.
Yeah, totally.
Which I think is really awesome.
For sure.
So inspiring too.
Yeah.
Sam, do you sing?
A little bit.
Okay.
Not,
Yeah.
I'm no Illia, but I sing a little bit. I do some backup vocals.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
just curious
a,
if there's any like
but he's
duo-
a phenomenal guitar player, though.
Thank
I
you.
mean, like really, really good. And good guitar players are not hard to come by, right? But
It's true.
there's everyone's got a little bit of a tasty piece to it, and there's a way to be generic and there's a way to be kind of a little step up, and I feel like Sam's got that step up.
Oh, I appreciate that, man.
And
Thank
so, just from the observation from watching the videos, I guess I've never seen him play live, but let's see how he handles 4 hours. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have any
Oh,
idea,
man.
but,
Oh my gosh, yeah, we've talked about jam fatigue before,
Oh,
where
yeah.
you just at some point you're like, man, can I come up with another creative thing
Yeah.
to do with my band members right now?
You can
Or-
only play the pentatonic scale so many different ways.
yeah, that's true. That's true. It does get, but if you get to a place where I think you guys have, where you can probably do just about any genre, right? You could just pick it
Well,
out of the air, right?
Try, yeah.
Except
So
for
you could
metal.
do Charlie Daniels or you could do Billie Eilish, and that's great, right? So
Sure.
you could kind of do anything in between. I think that helps.
Yeah.
That helps to keep
Definitely.
it from getting stale.
Yeah. Well, that's been like a big strategy of ours. Is like if we can get booked at the Grand and do a super laid back acoustic set as a duo, and then also get booked at halls and do like jazz as a trio.
Also get
And
booked at
then
Breakers.
At Breakers and do like a super loud, rambunctious like pop rock thing, and then like that's the real way to make it as a musician in a city the size of Columbia, which I
Just variety.
Yeah.
like you got to be willing and able to play to 15 different styles of entertainment and like crowd and that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
So are both of you from the Columbia area, or
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, did you go to USC? What's that?
So I actually went to Clemson for 4 years, and I got a degree in biology, which is not a degree I plan to use in any significant way at this point.
But you wanted to be a doctor.
I wanted to be a doctor, yeah. And then COVID hit, and I just played guitar like 5 hours a day and realized I didn't want to be a doctor.
There's still time. You could decide at like 45 years old you want to be a doctor and just go do it. It's got plenty of time.
It's my backup plan is go
Yeah.
to med school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I went
awesome.
to USC for a year,
Okay.
and I decided college was not for me, unfortunately. But I did go to the Midlands Audio Institute after that to kind of just learn about sound and whatnot. And then I kind of just kind of coasted around. I taught at Freeway for a little bit, and then when I met Sam, I was like, oh yeah, let's
do
do this.
Well, and I think, you guys said Zach Bingham's a great
yeah.
contact to make. Don Russo is a great contact to make.
Absolutely.
You mentioned Midlands Audio Institute. Jay's one of the like foundations of music in Columbia.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
You really can't do music in Columbia without knowing Jay Matheson. Talk to me about connecting with him on Live at the Jam Room, and how did that get started?
Sure. So back to your point about us putting out videos of us performing in the studio. So for a while we would hire, like we hired our buddy Ian Wallace one time to shoot video of us playing. And we've always gotten Zach to engineer us. But I kind of realized like there's a lot of musicians in Columbia like need these like, videos of them playing where it sounds really good and it's not just, iPhone at a bar, and so me and Zach put this thing together, which was essentially just like, this package that we could offer musicians where like, hey, pay X amount and you're going to get like the filming time, the editing time, the studio time, the engineer's time, the mixing time. Like you're going to get all that for this price. And so it's like we kind of are sort of trying to figure out a way to offer a package that didn't really exist in Columbia for musicians to just be able to message me and be like, hey, I want to do this. And I'll be like, okay, this time, this date, me and Zach will be there, pay us this much money, and then show up and perform, and that's it. And it's like all, because it's really tricky. I think a lot of musicians don't really know videographers or don't really have the connections to the jam room or engineers. And so that's honestly, it's taken off pretty well. Like we've shot Colton Beasley and Pretty the Matt and a couple other people. So.
Yeah. That's great. I mean, they look good.
Thank you.
Obviously, sound good. That's a big part of the
It's a
problem.
priority, yeah.
Most like the band I'm in right now, we're trying to think about how to do videos, and we
Sure.
are having a hard time figuring out how to record what we sound like because there's 5 of us and there's too much going on.
Sure.
And every time we've had someone talk to us about doing a music video, it's always like, no.
Yeah, it's
You
been
can't afford what
it's
we
been
need to
tough,
charge.
man. It's definitely and I'll tell you, when I first got into this business, what I wanted to do was music videos. That's
Yeah.
all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like I said, look, I'll do weddings for now. I'll make money, but I really want to just do music videos. And I tried for so long
Yeah.
to break into it, and there just wasn't enough money in it.
True.
It
Yeah.
just kind of like every time I turn around, the musicians that had money don't need you to do it for
Yeah.
them because they've got somebody.
Yeah.
And the ones that need you don't have any money. So
Yeah.
like it's
True.
made it a big problem. Well, so Live at the Jam Room was something that the Jam Room used to do as part of a public service or a public access show for Time Warner Cable. Time Warner Cable had a channel 2 that they had public access programming on, and that was one of the shows. And we would do three bands per show, so it was like 30 minutes. The bands were literally in and out of there in however long it took them to play 3 songs. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like long enough to set up the gear and play 3 songs and get out. And so I'm glad to see that he's reviving it. That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. But I totally feel you on the like. There's no money in it. It's not even like you can't make a lot of money in it. It's like you just can't make money in it.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
either just make $1 billion or you make nothing. Like there's
that's
no
how it
middle.
feels.
You
And
know?
I,
And so
yeah, and in Colombia at least.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
tricky.
it is fun. I mean, it can be
is fun.
fun, you
Yeah.
know, and I definitely miss working with live music, you know,
Yeah.
like we used to do it a good bit, but
Yeah.
you know, it's been a long time. And we worked with a couple of party bands for a little while, like
Okay.
Men of Distinction and
Sure.
Finesse and gosh, who was the other one? But they, you know, we would do those 25-second snippets that they recorded the song in the studio, and we'd do the live version to
Sure.
a click, and then we'd have to match it up, you know. And,
Yeah.
The
boy.
most recent one was the Taylor Swift cover, right?
Yeah.
wow.
That was now that was Zach from the Jam Room.
Okay.
So that was he's managing that band, Elizabeth, and they're phenomenal. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. Don't like Taylor Swift at all.
Sure.
Don't get it. It's not for me, right? I'm a 51-year-old dude.
Fair enough.
I am not here for Taylor Swift, but she was good. She seemed right, you know.
Yeah.
Ran up in the crowd and she was interfacing with the girls and all that stuff, you know.
And then Johnny Cash.
Yeah, we did the Johnny Cash one. There was a guy that came through town and was based in Atlanta and was coming to the Skyline and did this Legends of Country Music show, which he played Johnny Cash, but he had a Merle Haggard guy. He had a Linda Ronstadt person. He had a Willie Nelson.
That's awesome.
You know, and so they would get on stage and he'd do the little, you know, set, and they'd get off stage, and then the Hank Williams Jr. guy would come on and do his little Hank Williams Jr. set. And then all 4 of them or 5 of them got on stage and sang together at the end. And it
Yeah.
was awesome. I was sitting
That's
back
cool.
there behind the cameras going, I can't believe I get to see this.
That's
I
awesome.
never would have paid money to see this, you
Sure.
know,
Yeah.
because I didn't know about it, I guess. But,
Yeah.
you know,
That's the thing. It's like, how much promotion and advertising can you do to get people there,
right.
Yeah.
and balance it between, you know, having a shtick or being your authentic self. So
Yeah.
how do you guys strategize on that in terms of you're doing a lot of covers, but you want to be yourself, so you guys are known. Talk us through that concept for us.
Yeah. That's interesting because I feel like you kind of play a character and be authentic at different moments. You know,
Yes.
like on stage at we keep referencing Breakers. That just because it's probably the most like,
It's
you know,
the show that we
showy.
do.
It's an
Yeah.
obvious example, too,
Yeah.
you know, of that kind of bar.
yeah.
You know.
But like there, it's like you're not. I'm not saying you're not really Illia. We're these people that are like
We are Sam
crazy
and Ilia.
and like
We are, yeah.
demanding of your attention. But then like on our social media, it's like in that environment, it's like authenticity by far goes the furthest. You know,
I think our most popular posts are usually our
just talking.
yearly, well, that and then our yearly Christmas pajamas picture.
Yeah,
So
matching
it's very
Christmas-
popular.
yeah, yeah, that's fun.
But I see y'all are doing an open mic at the New Brooklyn Tavern. Like that's got to be a different vibe,
oh yeah,
you know.
it is a different vibe. It's yeah, and that's like that itself is a whole different type of gig because like we're really just a house band and we're just trying to keep people that have like never gotten on stage to perform before like on track to play War Pigs or
Oh my goodness.
just.
But at
some
New
pop
Brooklyn,
punk
I bet
song.
you get like Joy Division, and you get, you know, Bauhaus, and you get you know, Meat Puppets, and you get
Yeah.
stuff that like is not normal, right?
Well, we have heard that. Like we've heard bands come and play that. We don't know a lot of those songs,
Yeah.
so
Right.
we can't really like be the backing.
But you know what I
band.
mean? Like you get
Sure,
you know,
I'm just that they don't know any of those songs, and I'm thinking I don't know them either.
but that's the thing. Like
Puppet.
what happens at New Brooklyn Tavern is like because when my band plays at New Brooklyn, we play 3 or 4 covers of songs that I've never heard of the song, I've never heard of the band.
Yeah.
And there's always somebody in the crowd that comes up at the end and goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe you played, Scissor Fight or whatever." And I'd never heard of Scissor Fight before I joined this band. I don't know anything about that. I'm
Yeah.
not that cool,
Yeah.
but like there are people that are that cool at New Brooklyn Tavern
Sure.
and Art Bar.
Yeah.
There's like two of those places that kind of thing happens.
Sure.
I think it's I think what I find interesting is when you're thinking about the playing at any of these places, Breakers is a good example, or Tabs, or any of these places that are hiring you to be the entertainment. How up to you is it to bring people to the bar?
Depends on the bar, for
Depends on-
sure.
yeah, and who you ask.
Does it affect your ability to bring people to the bar? Or does that affect how much they pay you?
Not normally.
Only in the sense of like if you're gonna get booked there again. Usually, like there's not like a scaling thing. For
You
the-
don't
for
get
cover
a
bands.
cut of the door or anything
No.
like that. Yeah.
Because usually there's not a door. Like in this
Yeah.
day and age, like people don't really want to pay a cover to go see music at a bar.
Yep.
I've heard that that's how it was 20 years ago, and that's one of the reasons that it was so much easier to make a living as a musician 20, 30 years ago. But I mean, these days, like I think a lot of bars either hope or expect people to bring like fans, and then often I think they're genuinely like disappointed because I think a lot of cover musicians have this sort of shared understanding that like it's not really on the cover musicians to bring people,
Yeah.
especially solo and duo acts, honestly. Like, I mean, another thing me and Chris talked about is like these bars will be like, "Oh, you're not bringing anybody." And it's like, I'm just a solo guy with an acoustic guitar playing
Playing covers.
Yeah.
covers. Like it's, and I'm
And I
playing
played-
5 times a week.
Exactly.
Like,
And it's hard to bring people out 5 times a week.
yes.
Especially when you get to be my age. I'm telling you, you guys, what are you, 20s, late mid 20s?
Mid 20s.
So I'm 51. The guys in my band are all in their late 40s, early 50s, and to get people from the suburbs to come out to Art Bar at 11 o'clock on a Saturday
yeah.
is impossible.
I can't
It's
get my
impossible.
own parents to come to gigs.
Oh my God.
I've
Yeah.
tried. Jan and Tina.
I tell my neighbors like, "Hey, we're playing Saturday night at Art Bar," and they're like, "What time does it start?" I was like, 11. They're like, "Yeah, I'm not like love you.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere at
Right,
11 o'clock
yeah.
on a Saturday night." And
Yep.
I'm sure y'all are not quite to that spot yet, but like it's
We're not far.
but it's one of those things where it gets to be like, would I do it, right? Would I go, if I wasn't affiliated, right? If I didn't know y'all, would I go see y'all play somewhere, and that's hard. That's
Tough.
especially
Yeah.
around
That's
here.
where the authenticity comes in,
right.
Because I'm gonna go see you guys because I like you,
Yeah.
and I want to, like, in essence, build a relationship, right?
But connect,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Connect.
Yeah.
But if I don't know you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's no way I'm.
Yeah.
No way.
We try to connect. Like when we see the same people come to gigs, we're like, I'm gonna go talk to that person.
Yeah.
We have one couple that's been following us around lately, and they're so sweet. And they just like, I know that they want to hear
Tennessee whiskey.
Tennessee whiskey and Sunday morning.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And so like I'll keep that on the set just for them. I'm like, when I see them walk in, I'm like, all right, time to play Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Because I know that's what they want to hear.
Yeah.
And that's no doubt Sunday morning?
That's
Maroon
Maroon 5.
5.
Maroon 5 Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. It's two. Yeah.
But yeah, getting to know people that come to your gigs, you see them come every time. It's like, yeah, you want to go out of your way to really establish a relationship with that person. And we've had plenty of people we've had people come up to us before too and been like, oh, we've been following you online for so long and this is the first time we've gotten to see you. I'm like, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
You've been watching us online. You've been watching what we're doing and where we've been, and we've never met you. And you're like going out of your way to make sure that you come see us in person and meet us. And then like, they'll be like, can you play this song? Like, I heard you do it online. I want to hear you play it live. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
I guess the thing of not having covers anymore, like the cover cost,
Right. Cover charges.
cover charges,
Yeah.
makes it more appealing
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm not paying extra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like St. Pat's last year, we played
Yeah.
New Brooklyn St. Pat's last
Nice.
year. So for my friends, I went to my friends. It's like, okay, it's not 11 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon now.
Yeah.
Now what excuse do you have? Okay, they can't pay to get into St. Pat's and pay to get into New Brooklyn
Yeah.
Tavern, right?
Yeah.
It was another $18 on top of the St. Pat's entry fee to get
Yeah.
into New Brooklyn.
Sure.
So I mean, that stuff is definitely a barrier, and I think it's
Yeah,
very,
adds up.
you know.
Yeah, I also, I mean, I love Columbia with my whole heart. Like, I'm gonna fight for the city as hard as I can. But I think in a lot of other areas, there's suburbs built around a city.
Mm-hmm.
Columbia often feels like a city
Built around the
built
suburbs.
around the suburbs.
Yeah.
Which is really unfortunate because I just, like, there's all kinds of people in, like, Lexington and Forest Acres. I mean, and people, like, I'm family with their friends
I
with.
know. I live in Forest Acres. It's hard to get me downtown.
Yeah.
And you're already downtown.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm
that's
in
so
Irmo. Can
expensive.
you imagine? Like coming to Forest Acres is like going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
You know, it's
That's
like
funny.
I might as well be hopping a plane if
Yeah.
I'm going to Forest Acres.
Sure.
So I'm with you. You
Yeah.
know, but it is interesting that is how it feels sometimes.
Yeah.
And
Do you feel like you have to be a music person? Like, I enjoy music.
Yeah.
Listen to it all the time. But I'm not someone I've gone to very few concerts. I'm not someone that's going to, I guess, invest my time into going to watch someone play. If I happen to, if worlds collided and I happened to be going to Steel Hands and you guys were playing, I would be, oh yeah, it'd be awesome. Love to watch it.
and
But am I going out of my way to do it? That's just not happening. I don't know.
But that's a good question for y'all, right?
You have
is
to be a
if
music person to do it.
I don't think so. I think to come see my band, you got to be a music person. But
Yeah.
for them, I don't think that's.
That's why I think
that,
you just got to like you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the?
As like a cover duo, you definitely don't have to be like a music person. Like we've had people come up to us before and be like, "Oh, I don't normally stick around for live music, but I really enjoyed listening to y'all, you know, at this brewery or whatever."
Yeah.
We've definitely had a mix of the two.
Sure. Yeah, well, and I think, so from the venue's perspective, as I see it, there's really three reasons to hire live music. First is bring new people. Second is hold the current people at the venue. And the third is, like, provide ambiance. So, like, for Steel Hands, for example, like, we definitely, I would say every time we play Steel Hands, we can count on between, like, 2 to 8 people that are coming just to see us because they know that we're there. But I think, you know, we really specialize at Steel Hands specifically because they have a great built-in crowd there. Like, we can probably keep people there for longer than they were originally planning to stay.
Yeah.
Just because, like, they like listening to us play music, you know?
And they'll come up and ask us to play a song.
Yeah.
And if we know it, or even if we kind of don't, we'll stumble through some stuff.
Sure.
You can fake most songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only 4 chords, right?
Well,
If
there's
it's an easy one, yeah.
yeah, there's some that are more, but most are not. Yeah, most are pretty simple.
Yeah.
And most of the
If
songs
you ask
people
Ed
like,
Sheeran, it's 4
most of
chords.
the songs people like are simple songs.
Yeah.
So that's
true.
that's the fun part.
That's
Like,
a great point.
you know, nobody's requesting "Carry On Our Wayward Son" or or "Stairway to Heaven." You know,
Yeah.
But-
If they did ask for "Carry On My Wayward Son," I think we could do it.
Well, maybe. I could play bass on that. We've definitely I'm going to pick my words carefully. We've ate crap before. Trying songs that we've never done before. And,
Yeah.
like Africa by Toto, that song doesn't
Oh,
sound
man.
complicated,
it's
but
so complicated.
it's tough, man.
It's
that's a lot
almost
of
like
chords.
these guys are alien species.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that doesn't make the song doesn't make any sense.
No.
I've
Yeah.
started telling audiences, like, if you ask us to play a song, I'm like, if we mess this up, this is on y'all. Actually.
It's on you.
This
Yeah.
is not our fault.
We didn't plan to play this song.
Right. This is not
This
on
is-
the set list.
This
You
is
guys
not
wanna
our
hear
choice.
it.
Yeah.
Yellow
No, I-
Ledbetter, Pearl Jam.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
you
yeah.
did
I
that.
tried
once at
singing
a-
that. I realized
There's probably 4 people in the audience. Thank goodness, because
Yeah, it was a real dead night. But God, I thought I knew the words to that song, and then I looked at the words and I was like, these don't match up with the whatever noises I'm hearing from Eddie Vedder's mouth.
Right.
In the song.
Yeah. Those.
that's when you mumble through it.
Yeah.
So
I did.
I'm kind of in a Michael McDonald phase right now.
Okay, nice.
Because maybe the gray beard or whatever.
Sure.
But he doesn't. You can't understand a word he says
Yeah.
either. So that frees you from having to learn lyrics, which is nice.
Absolutely.
You just have to know the sounds,
Sure.
which is good.
What's
you
your
know.
favorite era of Michael McDonald?
Oh, I'm going to probably say the sort of early, like 81, 82 Kenny Loggins duo type
Oh, yeah.
area, you
Awesome.
know. This Is It, or, like that. Some of those songs are just bangers,
Yeah,
and
sure.
just don't get the credit for
Yeah.
what they for what they do, you know. So I think
100%.
and I think it's funny for a heavy metal band to play easy listening songs. So
That is funny.
You know,
I would love
yeah.
to hear that live.
Yeah.
That'd be really fun.
that was started by Faith No More. So Faith No More did a cover of Easy Like Sunday Morning.
Nice.
And it was one of those things where you go, yep, that works. I want more of that in my life.
That's
you
pretty
know,
funny.
so it's definitely a lot of fun. And I think, you know, picking the set, and this is kind of back to your question, right? Which is with Helvis, we pick the set based on what we want to hear ourselves play. And we have as much fun in our practice as we do in front of people. And so if there's one person at the art bar, which, you know, art bar is almost always packed at 11 o'clock on a Saturday. But like,
True.
if we were to play at 6:30 at the art bar and there's nobody there, we would have just as much fun, you know, playing to nobody. Because then we get a little bit more stage than we have in our practice space, and you know, all that kind of stuff. But
Sure.
I think what happens when you are thinking about going to Breakers, or you're thinking about going to Steel Hands or Savage Craft, is you're thinking about who's going to be there and what do they want to hear, and that's a very different way to prepare it. So if you and your family show up, I want to make sure I'm playing something that you and your family are going to like, right?
Yeah.
I have to predict.
Or at least not be offended by.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the interesting piece of being in a band like that, you know. So
Sure.
Yeah.
and the last acoustic duo I was in, I was playing piano. I was with a guy playing guitar, and he knew 40 or 50 songs. I knew 40 or 50 songs, and our thing was that we weren't going to practice. We were like, we're not practicing. Practicing is what we hated, so we were just not going to practice. So we're going to show up, and he's going to play a song he knows. And if I can see his hands and I know what he's playing, or if I've ever played it before, I'll play along with him, and I'll sing harmonies if I know what to do. So what we did was we invited these train wrecks. We invited like the like, okay, we did have moments of brilliance, right?
Sure.
Like he launched into Jukebox Hero one day, and I somehow knew how to sing Jukebox Hero. I didn't know that.
Oh, man.
I
Yeah.
just heard it on the radio for my whole life. And I sang Jukebox Hero, and it went right into the set. Like
have a video of that?
from that point on, you know. And so, but that's the kind of thing that would happen, you
Sure.
know, with that kind of thing. And to the point is that so many times where we were playing as an acoustic duo, we knew nobody was listening. We'd almost play stuff to see if we could get attention, you know, just to play something weird that people would have to pay attention to, you know.
Definitely.
And so,
That's a fun place to be in. Of just like, I know no one's listening.
Yeah.
yeah.
So let's just, hey, this new song that we haven't played yet. Like, if we butcher
Try it.
who cares?
Yeah.
No one is paying attention.
That's
to
right.
what we're
Getting
doing.
paid to practice, right?
Yeah.
And I used to play at Trevinia over in Lexington. I'd
Sure.
play piano on Wednesdays, and the first hour was supposed to be just piano while people were having dinner, and then the bar opened, and then I could sing and other stuff. But I would just I learned Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, wow.
Just because I wanted to.
Yeah.
And so I played all of Dark Side of the Moon for 52 minutes. I just, played Dark Side of the Moon. And nobody was listening, right? And I would mess up and go back, and I'd look at my tabs on my phone and I go, "Oh yeah, that's right. That's where that goes." And but that's a fun place to be, kind of, it's like one thing to have everybody watching you and paying attention and judging you.
Yeah.
You feel like they're judging you. But that's another thing to be up there and be free.
Totally.
Absolutely.
And the funny thing is, like, we found that sometimes risking the train wrecks can it keeps people enjoying the show more, not necessarily because they want to hear you mess up. Some people probably do want to hear you mess up.
Tumbling.
But well, I think what I found is, like, when we played the same 60 songs at a certain venue once a month, like that can get kind of like, oh man, we played Valerie so many freaking times.
Right.
But like when we change it up or we take a risk playing a different song that we've never played before, it keeps us engaged more. And I think oftentimes, like, we enjoy that more, and people see us enjoying it, and then they enjoy it more.
Right.
Because if, like, I think if people are watching a band and they can tell the band's not having a fun time, they're not. That's going to be just not an experience.
And you want to watch a band have fun regardless of
Yeah.
what it sounds like, right?
Totally.
Even.
Absolutely.
And one of the things I realized at Trevinia is that Bohemian Rhapsody is a sing-along. So that
Sure.
means that I don't have to know hardly any of it.
Yeah.
I can just get it started.
Yeah.
So as long as I know the first part of it and get it started,
Totally.
then once the vocals come along, they're just going to sing it. And I can play little bits in here and there because that's a real hard piano part.
Yeah.
I didn't have to really know it,
Yeah.
I could just
Sure.
but they had fun because they felt like I was playing it.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't really playing it, I mean, I was kind of got into it, but
Yeah.
So I think that brings up an interesting question. Is that so Valerie as an example, right? You would consider that a hit, right? That's your hit.
Definitely.
I've seen several videos of you singing Valerie. Do a
Yes.
good job at it.
Thank
Can you give us a little Valerie?
Well, that's the hardest thing to do, right? As a musician, you're like, if you're prepared to do it, then that's great. That's why I don't do karaoke, because you get into that room and you go like, oh God, of these 8,000 songs, which one do I sing, right?
Yes.
And which one? So I get up and do one, and then I have to sit down again.
Yeah.
So then if I hit, I don't get to do another one.
Yeah.
I did a great job, and now I got to sit down.
I think people have their karaoke list.
Right.
Like, I know these 3 songs,
Right.
and these are the 3 songs I'm going to pick.
True.
Yeah. Well, so the question is, if you had that hit, at what point do you feel like you're over it and just stop playing it?
It has depended on the song, because so Valerie's one that we've played since the beginning.
Yeah.
We played it at our first gig ever.
Yep.
Right.
And we still play it. And every now and then I do get a little tired of Valerie. And so I'll just kind of push it down the set, and then
Try not to do
Then
it.
it's their encore,
Right.
Exactly.
and then they feel
Right.
like a superstar.
Yeah.
Right.
And a big way audiences communicate with bands is just big text on phone. They just like to hold up their phone sideways with the biggest text they can put. And if they say Valerie, I'm like, all right, I'll
Yep.
do it, because now you're asking me for it. I've pushed it on as long as I can.
Right.
But then there's been some other songs. I can't think of off the top of my head right now which ones they were. Oh, Circles by Post Malone was one
Yep.
we used to, it was a decently popular song.
Right.
We would do it at every show, and we just kind of looked at each other one day in the trio, and we were like,
I do not like this
we
one.
can't do this song again.
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
finished it, and we were like, guys, can we put that one on pause for a little bit?
Ain't No Sunshine.
Ain't
another
No
example.
Sunshine, and we brought that one back recently,
Last
and
night?
I was last night, and I was pleasantly surprised by.
Just got to shelf it for long enough.
Yeah, you just gotta sometimes you gotta put it on the back burner.
I
And at
guess
some point you'll come
it's
back.
different when, Bon Jovi has to play
Yeah.
his hits, right?
Well, that's
Yeah.
the question, right? If you're Bon Jovi, do you play Living on a Prayer at every show? Do you play Wanted Dead or Alive at every show? Or do you go, what about that 5th album?
Yeah.
Like, we put a lot of work into that 5th album.
Yeah.
Like, you guys don't want to hear anything off the 5th album, and there's like 4 people out there in the auditorium of people. They're like, nope, we want to hear Slippery When Wet, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't play anything else. You can play Runaway, that's fine, but
Yeah.
don't play anything else.
I guess at that point, when you've made millions
Right,
doing your own music,
right,
then you got to do it.
right.
Yeah.
If
And-
you are covering people, you can eliminate those songs whenever you want.
Right.
Well,
it's
I've
not our
heard
song.
I've heard Billy Joel talk about this. Like how many times do I have to play Piano Man? Right. And he goes, you know what? As long as people want to hear it, I want to play it.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know about you guys. I've never been in that position, right? where I have this thing that's like a cultural phenomenon that like I have to get away from because it's so ever present, I've never had that scenario.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I had it, I would be happy to play it again. Right.
Absolutely. And that's songs like Circles, for example.
Yeah.
People don't beg us to play that song.
Right.
People beg us to play Valerie.
Right.
We'll get people all night long. Do y'all know Valerie? Do y'all know Valerie? If you see a band and it's female fronted, they definitely play Valerie.
Right.
Like 100%. But the audience reaction to that is so strong that it's like, yeah, I don't want to stop playing Valerie because they're gonna sing along with me every single time.
Right.
We're able to play with it. We just put out a video where I'm like getting the audience to
I saw
sing it
that.
with me.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'll always preface it with like, I'm gonna be annoying and I'm gonna make you guys sing with me, but it's more fun for me. And you have sometimes stronger opinions than I do about like bands playing the hits.
Yeah.
Like we've seen Marcus King how many times?
Yeah.
And he's never played his most popular song.
Yeah. I love Marcus King so much, and he's so
Big inspiration
talented.
for us.
Yeah, but his first project, Marcus King Band, their most popular song is "Rita's Gone," and we've
Which
never
we cover.
Which we cover. We have played "Rita's Gone" more than we've seen Marcus play his own song. And I respect him so much, and I respect the artistic integrity. And there might be some weird stuff where it was Marcus King Band song, and now he's just Marcus King.
Yeah, who owns the publishing and
Yeah.
who's got performance rights and all
Exactly.
that stuff.
When we've seen him lately, though, it's just been the newest album.
Yeah.
Right.
Or at least mostly the
great.
newest album. And it is a great album. Yeah, I enjoyed it
Yeah.
a lot. But
Well, and that's the thing is that as an artist that goes on for decades
Mm-hmm.
and all that kind of stuff, you have to I was one of my new favorite things online is that Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins has started a podcast.
Oh, yes.
And so his first 2 guests that I know of was Gene Simmons and Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine, right? So he's talking to Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine. He's like, what do we know now as 50-something-year-olds that we didn't know in the 90s? And Tom Morello said that we got trapped in this thing where we felt like we were selling out because we were playing to these giant sold-out stadiums. And we felt ashamed of where we gotten to. And we didn't want to play. And Billy Corgan said, that hits me right between the eyes. He said, we went on this tour, Lollapalooza in 1994. We were one of the biggest bands in the world. And we didn't want to play our hit songs because we were like, screw you guys. We just wrote a new album. That's what we want to play, right?
Yeah.
And he says, looking back on it, if I had it to do over again, I would play the hits over and over again. Like I'd be like, sorry about that. I was wrong. Let me go play the hits, right? Yeah. And I think that's such an interesting thing to think about especially when you guys are playing as much as you're playing, right? How often are y'all playing?
At least 3 times a week usually.
Right now, yeah.
Are you guys playing tonight?
Yes. Jay's Corner.
Yeah.
All right. I might be going to Jay's Corner.
Jay's Corner, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jay's
Margarita
Corner is
Day.
apparently a decent place to see bands because it's outdoors, but it's heated, right? Doesn't it have the?
I think we're indoors tonight.
Indoors
but
tonight?
normally it's
like
outdoors.
40 degrees.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna be
it's gonna
chilly.
Maybe like 20 in
Yeah.
or something. Like,
But
Well, our friends Dave and Patty played. Their band is called the Transonics, and they've played at Jay's. And I've been telling. The problem with Helvis is that we have a challenging thing with going to Steel Hands or Savage Craft where there are little kids there.
Sure.
Because we're going to be a little scary.
Yeah.
We're loud
should
and.
be.
Yeah, you're loud.
You got your stick.
We got our stick. We got our thing. We're not. It's not okay. What we're
kids
doing
need
to
to be
these songs is not okay. And so, like, our hit is that we play a medley of Metallica songs mixed with Bird is the Word. And so
Okay.
we go Metallica song into Bird is the Word and then back into another Metallica song into Bird is the Word. That's our
Wow.
hit. So we played that every
gotta hear
show.
that, man. I gotta
We
hear
probably
that.
played 14 shows maybe, and we played that every time, and everybody loses their mind when we go into the Bird.
That's awesome.
And so, and it's just like, it's just such a challenge for us because we're like, okay, we're kind of over this. We kind of like doing it, I guess, because we were all big Metallica fans. We love playing Metallica songs, but I was like, why don't we just fool them again, right? And instead of playing the opening of For Whom the Bell Tolls, let's just play For Whom the Bell Tolls, like all the way through. And then they'll expect us to go into the Bird, and we
won't.
don't. And we just play For Whom the Bell Tolls,
That's a great idea.
Yeah. We fooled them once. Now we'll fool them again, going the other way. But anyway, that's the way we think about sets. But it's like, we're not doing it for them at all. Like, if they want to come see us, then that's great. But if we showed up to the art bar and there's nobody there, we'll be cool, And also, we usually play with 3 or 4 other bands. So we've got at least 3 or 4 other bands to watch us. And we're a band's band, right?
Sure.
We're a musician's band, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna see what we're doing, and you're gonna go, oh, I get that, right?
That's a good bit. That's
Yeah.
a good shtick.
So this time we're gonna play a medley of "Blinded by the Light" by Manfred Mann, mixed with "Blinding Lights" by The Weeknd,
Nice.
because both of them have lights in the title. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Sure.
the only thing. Turns out though that "Blinding Lights" is an F minor and "Blinded by the Light" is an F.
Yeah.
So it's easy. It's an easy
Works
switch,
out. Yeah.
So that's the way we like to do things. Is like, there is no reason for us to do this. No one asked for it.
Yeah.
We're
That's
just,
fun though.
Yeah.
That's fun.
yeah.
We're just doing it for no reason.
Yeah.
So
When's y'all's next gig?
March 8th.
March 8th?
So we're at the Art Bar March 8th
Okay.
with Dr. Barug, who
Okay.
is if you have never seen Dr. Barug, it is a wild set.
Yeah.
He is this is Clark Watson, who used to be with a band called the New York Disco Villains. He was the singer, and he does a variety show, literally like a 1980s Barbara Mandrell style variety show.
Man.
Where he comes out and he hosts it. There's a TV behind him. He goes, thank you, and he does the whole thing, and he'll sing a song, and then he'll have a commercial break where he's made the weird little commercial.
Gosh.
And
genius.
he does TV.
good.
He does TV theme songs. He does
Yeah.
he does gimmick songs. He has special guests come up, and it's all that. It's a strange.
Dude, that
it's a
sounds weird.
strange thing to start off a heavy metal show. So
Yeah, that's awesome. That
Yeah.
sounds very cool.
But anyway, it's great to have you guys on.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
It's so fun. We were talking about this earlier, and this whole season of the podcast, we're trying to have people that we don't know very well,
Sure.
to come on, kind of to test our ability to interview people.
Well, good interviews. It's just listening.
Yeah, we're just going. Okay, what is this? Like, what are we talking about?
Because I had no idea who you guys were, what you guys did.
Sure. Fair enough.
And I talked to him about it a little bit, but like, this is
not
part
really.
of this is part of the fun of it, right? Is just going, okay. Last season, everybody was on with somebody we had known for a long time. So like, when I sit down with people that I've known forever, we just talk about the old days or whatever it is. And so,
All right, so not
If it
knowing
helps,
you
I didn't know
guys,
who you guys were either.
Yeah.
are you a couple?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
We get
I knew
together
that
for-
because I had followed them on social.
You
media.
assume, but you can't assume.
Yeah.
If you're not doing it right as a duo, if people aren't guessing,
true.
Right,
people need to be
right.
like, are they dating? Are they not
Right.
dating?
It's true.
But we get together for
He's
about
in the doghouse this week.
Yeah, that's right.
Get some.
He doesn't get to sing this week. He just has to sit back there and play guitar. Shut up.
and
Yeah.
no solos.
Right, no solos. That's right.
So any Sonny and Cher duos?
Yeah, you guys should do some Sunny and Cher.
We should.
Yeah,
That sounds
Yeah.
be into it.
Yeah.
The beat goes on. That'd be cool.
We part of it's been difficult because I can sing decently now, but when we first started, I couldn't sing very well. But we're slowly getting more into the like coupley singing songs. Like we're working on "In a Mountain High Enough." The Marvin Gaye,
Oh, yeah.
Cantrell.
Islands
So-
in the Stream.
That's the stream. Okay.
Islands in the Stream. Everybody wants to be Kenny Rogers when they grow up.
true.
So.
We're gonna do a the opposite of a coupley thing. We're gonna do a Fleetwood Mac tribute show
Yeah,
Nice.
and in
very
Brooklyn.
soon.
That'll be fun.
Very
And
good.
We need to practice our longing staring at each
Yeah.
other from opposite sides
Right.
of the stage.
I don't know if y'all have seen that video of them doing Silver Springs
Yeah.
in like
Yes.
80s. I don't know when that live video was taken, but
ingrained in my
just
brain.
The reunion show. So when they got back together
Yeah.
after like 20 years of not seeing each other at all.
yeah,
Yeah.
the daggers that Stevie Nicks is shooting with her eyes.
Yeah.
You'll
She's
never get away.
actively casting a spell on
Yeah,
stage.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Because she's totally not a witch. Don't say that. That's great. I think Fleetwood Mac would be awesome.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
Yeah. April 4th.
Just do rumors. Just
That's-
take it
that's
on.
It's
Just do all of
mostly
rumors.
It's mostly
Yeah.
rumors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly rumors.
That's great.
A
We've
little
got
bit
some
of
other
the
hits that aren't on rumors that we want to make sure we do. So
yeah,
Right.
a little bit of that old like pre Stevie Nicks like weird and
Yeah, we're doing some
psychedelic
of that.
instrumental stuff.
Well,
but-
so and this will be the last thing. But
Well, yeah, okay, that's cool.
when I was with the Judas Priest tribute band, we did Green Man Alicia,
okay,
which became a hit for Judas Priest, but was actually written by Fleetwood Mac.
sure.
And so I had never heard that version before, and I went back and heard it. I was like, whoa, this is really different than the Judas Priest version.
Sure.
But all that stuff is just so cool. It's just going back before the kind of famous singer
Yeah.
and finding what they did before they got famous. All right, so we
That's
end
awesome.
up every podcast with your favorites.
Okay.
Since Brian doesn't know you.
That's so
we
funny.
do that too.
We used
on
to
our
have a podcast in
Yeah.
the jam room, and we'd do the same thing.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
That's so
The
funny.
5 favorites. You got a new follower now. I just followed you.
Nice, thanks.
Thank you.
Which is, I don't follow many people, so
Yeah, that's true.
we'll see how long it
Brian's
lasts.
not a big social media guy, so, you know.
Yeah.
So, 5 favorites. So, what is your favorite dessert?
Oh man, what is my favorite dessert?
I think just chocolate chip cookie in general.
A
That's kind of
chocolate chip
boring.
cookie always hits.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter where you are. Like,
Yeah,
if you get a chocolate chip cookie, it's gonna be good.
Insomnia chocolate chip cookies are just
Mm.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Specifically, the Insomnia like oatmeal chocolate chunk cookie.
that's a good one.
That's
Oh, yeah.
it for me.
That's a good one.
Okay.
I love that one.
Nice.
Alright.
I love Insomnia.
What is your favorite television show?
In general, or like currently
All time.
Breaking
Adventure
Bad.
Time.
Oh.
Very different answers.
Wow.
What was yours?
Adventure Time.
Adventure Time.
I love
Yeah.
Adventure Time.
It's so good. I rewatch it constantly.
Now, my son started watching Adventure Time when he was probably 6. He's 21 now. But we thought, I'm not sure this is appropriate for a 6-year-old. But
It's a
he
lot of
didn't
a
get
show.
any of the inappropriate stuff,
Right.
right? He just saw the stuff going on. Like Marceline
Fun,
was
stretchy dog. And
Yeah, but like there are a lot of pieces on that you go, ooh, that's
It's
challenging.
heavy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, so I love Adventure Time. Love Breaking Bad too. So
Yeah.
that's good choices.
What is your favorite movie?
That's a harder one to answer.
I'm gonna go Parasite.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
That's
That's a
really good
great
one.
movie.
that's a great one. Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Phantom of the Opera movie because that's
Oh.
one that's like one of the first movies I can remember impacting me very personally. I don't know why, but I know that like I just would watch that over and over and over and over again when I was a kid. So
It's great source material. So yeah.
Now, traditionally we would say, "Oh, well, what's your favorite song?" I mean, you guys probably play and know so many, it's hard to pick. But do you have a favorite song?
I think favorite song to play, maybe that could be.
Yeah.
Sure, favorite song to play.
Yeah.
To
That's
play.
yeah, that's all right.
It's all good.
It'll be okay.
what's our favorite song to play? What's your favorite song to play? 'Cause it's all different.
I love playing Sir Duke by Stevie Wonder. That's
Wow.
It
that's
is very
a good
fun.
Yeah.
one. It's a lot of fun.
It's a new one for me.
Yeah.
It is fun. I think lately my favorite song to play has been Pink Pony Club by Chapel Roan.
It's good.
Okay.
And it's because people, like, no matter
They
what
love it.
venue you're in, they lose their mind
love
for
Chapel
it.
Roan.
And so do I. So I love having
So we
that
were thinking about
moment.
doing a metal cover of Pink Pony Club.
You
As
should.
you should.
You should. That's a great idea.
we do Hit Me Baby One More Time, which is
it's a great
one of
one.
our favorite songs to play. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah,
That's fun.
I love it.
All right, last question. What would be your last meal if you were on death row?
Oh.
That that too lies at it.
Yeah.
It's like I'm
what
giving
you
up.
like?
I'm on the floor.
We should
You
find a
guys,
stand that we could just put
yeah,
behind the couch.
I've got a stand. I could put it on there. It's fine.
Oh man.
Felt like the tape was gonna work.
Last meal.
You know, I'm gonna do a callback. I know you said the last episode was with the wig owner.
Mm-hmm.
I forget his name.
Phil.
If there would be some way for me
yeah.
to hire Phil to make the wig chicken sandwich with the wig French fries as my last meal, that would be it. 'Cause
Nice.
He's got all
that's
the
how-
recipes.
No,
He's
it's-
been breaking them
he
out
said
at
he
home,
still
apparently.
cooks. That's what he said on the couch. Is he
Really?
still cooks some of those recipes at home?
I
you know?
would.
Can we?
I know, right? There's a
home
there's a cookbook in that somewhere.
Oh man.
What's his name again? What's his name?
Philip Blair.
Philip Blair. I don't know which camera to look at.
Yeah.
Philip Blair.
This one here.
If
yeah.
you,
Hey, let's
we'll
hang
play
out.
music at your house if you want us to.
I'll pay for all the ingredients. but
Yes.
the
Do they
wig-
not
if-
do? They don't do live music at Weco, though, do they?
No.
Not much.
It's
No.
like for
it's,
anniversary things
yeah.
or yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty rare.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to trade, we'll do it.
I'll
Do
pay
it.
for
Yeah.
every ingredient.
Fun bar.
I'm kind of with you, but the cheeseburger. I love
yeah.
the wig cheeseburger.
Yeah, that was classic. That was classic.
Yeah. All right. What about you?
I think I would. My dad's family is Filipino, and my dad grew up, or when I was growing up, my dad would always make Filipino food for us at home. If I could have lumpia made by my mom and sinigang made by my dad, that would be like I think the perfect combination of last meal.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Love lumpia.
Oh,
That's
man.
awesome.
My mom's not Filipino, but she makes the best lumpia.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
That's great.
Well, we really appreciate you guys
Yeah,
being on
this
the
was really fun.
podcast today.
Our
It's
pleasure.
been a
Thanks
great
for having us.
conversation.
Real change of pace for us.
Good
We're
time.
used to having these corporate people in here. So it's good to
Man,
have music people in
Give me
here.
your more
I
fun.
think it's cool that y'all are doing a cool podcast like this in Columbia too,
Yeah.
highlighting some local people. It's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, appreciate what we all do.